let's build an outdoor garbage can enclosure. This is designed to hold a standard 13-gallon kitchen garbage can. I literally went to Walmart and bought the cheapest one that they had. If you are like us, my wife and I, you always end up with garbage in your vehicle. I don't even know how it gets there, but it drives me insane. There's always something. I wanted a garbage can outside, but I didn't want just a regular garbage can. Number one, it would look funny. Number two, animals could get into it or the wind would blow it over. I just knew that it was eventually going to be a mess. So I wanted to build this because it's going to be heavier. Nothing can get into it. The wind's not going to blow it over. It's going to look better. It's definitely going to solve a problem. So with all of that said, let's get this outdoor garbage can enclosure built. Anytime you put two pieces of wood together, always grab a piece of sandpaper and knock those little scragglies off the end. Scragglies, that's a funny word. If you don't, it's just not going to fit well together. So this is a very simple project. The only thing that I'm going to use to put this together is going to be wood glue and an 18 gauge finish nailer. The way this is designed is for these trim pieces to kind of be structural. You'll see that in a minute. So make sure when you're putting these together that you get these as close to perfect as possible. The main body of this is just going to be a series of these boxes, and this is where it's important that we got those little scragglies off earlier, because if we would have left those on there, these would never have been square. In any other situation, I would want to pre-drill and countersink some screws into these corners, but in this particular situation with these outside trim pieces being structural, that's where all of your strength is going to come from. So once all of this is put together, this is going to be more than strong enough. And now it's time for the first screw up of the project. If you notice, two of the boards for the bottom are actually 1/4 of an inch smaller than what they should be. Not exactly sure that happened because I used a stop block, but either way, I looked at it. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I still got two from the side. I'm still going to be able to nail from the top. It's going to be strong enough because there's not going to be a lot of weight on this, plus the fact that the bottom is going to be on the ground, so it's fine. So the best way to build this is just finding a good flat surface and build it upside down. You're going to put these top slat pieces in, and I put a good bit of glue on it, and on the top piece I put 4 brad nails on each side. That's just to kind of hold it in place until I get a couple more of these slats put in. Safety tip of the day: if you get a nail jam, make sure you unplug that air hose before you start messing with it. You don't want to get a nail shot through your finger. This is always my favorite part of a project. You've spent all of this time cutting and getting everything ready and sanding and pre-assembly, and now you get to start putting this thing together. And this is when your work really starts to show off. If you like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out our website for plans to this project and to many others. Link in the description. Do you guys get nervous when you're putting the last piece in? Is it going to be right? Is it the right size? Did it do good? Yes, it's perfect. So there's going to be 2 layers of trim on the bottom, because the body of this thing is going to be painted whatever color my wife decides. The top is going to be stained, and I've got a piece of trim that's going to go around the bottom that's going to be stained. So it's stained on the top and the bottom, painted in the middle. So now I'm just going to flip this thing over, trim out the top the same way. Then I'm going to grab some sandpaper and just break these sharp edges now. And now to fill these 8,000 nail holes that I've got in here, I'm going to use Drydex. Over the years I've tried pretty much everything, but this Drydex works better than anything else I've ever tried. It sands really easy, it dries really quickly, It's pink when it goes on, but when it's dry and you know it's ready to sand, when it's white, it doesn't shrink or crack like anything else that I've used. It is by far the best product that I've used. I'll drop a link in the description in case you guys want to try it out. Make sure that you wear a mask when you're sanding this stuff because it will make a huge mess. My process for finishing these tops. First thing I'm going to do is grab a belt sander and smooth it out. Then I'm going to make some marks. I'm going to sand through 2 different grits on this top. I'm going to do an 80 and a 120. I'm going to do 2 sets of marks with the 80 grit, 1 set with a 120. Halfway through the 120, I'm going to take it and round over the edges. Now I do it now because if you do it in the beginning, you're going to run the risk of flattening out the round over. You don't want to do that. If you wait until the end to round over, then you're going to have to go back and sand anyway just to kind of smooth over that round over. So I have found that doing it halfway through your final grit is the perfect time. Did you see that move? Not everybody can do that. Lastly, for the top, I'm going to grab some sandpaper and break these edges just so nobody gets cut. Now, installing the hinges are super simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in place where I want it. I'm just going to do this by eye on the first one. Then I'm going to grab a countersink bit. And the reason I'm using a countersink bit is because neither of my Vicks bits have a large enough diameter for the diameter of the hole in the hinges. So I'll be checking out Amazon soon. But anyway, once I find the perfect center for these holes, then I'm going to pre-drill. Then I will mount the hinge. Then I will take a pencil and I'll draw around the hinge itself. Take the hinge back off, grab my trim router, route it out, should be perfect. Once the hinges are mounted to the base, then I'm going to set the top in place and I'm going to mark it. Then I'm going to take it back off, do exactly like I did with the base. You guys would be so impressed if you could see what I was doing here. Just kidding. And just like that, the top is mounted. And lastly, I'm going to match the corner of the top to the round over of the trim. Now, I could have used a flush trim bit to do this, but ultimately I decided it was just easier to do it with a sander. So now that everything is painted and stained, let's wrap this thing up. I'm going to start off by putting this trim on the bottom. I'm going to glue it and I'm going to nail it from the bottom so that I don't have to deal with the nail holes. Then I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to start the screws with my drill, finish them up with a screwdriver. So I didn't want the top to go flying backwards and flopping around, so I got a chain and a spring for a screen door. Easy to put on, easy to adjust. All that's left is the handle. Now these screws were too long, but I didn't have any shorter black screws. So I just let them poke through the bottom, then ground them down, no problem. Just want to take this time to thank you guys for watching. It means the world to me, each and every one of you guys. So thank you for everything. Click one of these other videos floating around here, and I will see you over there. Even Fred likes it.